morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. Welcome to our webinar on technology and the future of travel and tourism. This is part of our Road to Play initiative, the contribution of Nova School of Business and Economics community to deal with COVID impacts. Thank you all for all the participants that are with us today. For any technical question regarding connection to our initiative, please use the chat for questions to our guests. You can use the Q&A, and after Itai's green presentation, we'll open the floor for questions. Well, today I have the pleasure of welcoming two guests and actually two friends, which gives me more pleasure. And our guests for this morning are Euclides Major, which is the Executive Director of Nova's Entrepreneurship Hub, and Itai Green, the CEO and founder of Innovate Israel and ITTS, the Israeli TravelTech startup hub. First of all, I would like to invite Euclides Major to take the floor to introduce the topic and to talk about Nova's strategy on entrepreneurship and innovation in hospitality and tourism. Euclides, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sergio. Welcome, everyone. It's a big pleasure to be here. I'm delighted to see many participants here joining. I do believe we have an amazing session today on a topic that I'm extremely passionate, and so I look forward to share some thoughts and also to hear some of your questions. So first of all, let me start by talking a little bit on entrepreneurship and innovation at our school, at Nova School of Business and Economics. These topics are clearly in the DNA of our school. And to help deliver these, we have created a Center for Entrepreneurship, which we call the Entrepreneurship Hub, with the mission of empowering all our students with an entrepreneurial mindset. At our school, we educate on entrepreneurship learning. We test ideas, concepts, technologies. We co-create with startups, with big corporates, and we try to foster the connection between all our students, but also with investors, with startups, entrepreneurs, our alumni, and the various other stakeholders. One of our key verticals within the entrepreneurship is exactly in the tourism and hospitality space. Let me share with you some of the numbers that we have been reaching over the past 12 months. We had over 200 startups engaging with our programs at our school. We have promoted over 110 startup pitches from all around the world to big corporates and investors. We have had over 500 students actively engaging and participating in various of our entrepreneurship programs. We have, looking into our alumni, we've seen that over the past few years, they've created over 100 startups. And over the past year, we've organized over 15 different programs within the topics of entrepreneurship and innovation. Let me highlight just a few of these programs and initiatives. And I would start with virtual incubation. So we do have startups virtually incubated as of now. We have 15 startups in various sectors. 5 of them are within tourism and hospitality. These startups are High Check, Secret City Trails, Sea Bookings, Around Vector, and Sailside. Now, another program that we've been doing now for the 3rd edition is Madeira Startup Retreat, which works as a deceleration program in which we have had 11 startups this year from 10 different countries going to the island of Madeira for 6 weeks. And we try to engage our students, our alumni as mentors, and have been delivering an excellent program within the tourism and hospitality space. For the next year, we're planning an ideation program called the Mission Tourism, in which we plan to go to the Algarve, spend a few days on site, having real life experience and trying to aim for a real impact within the tourism sector. We're planning also an open innovation program with tourism SMEs and bringing entrepreneurs, bringing startups, working with our students during 5 or 6 months and trying to have at least 20 startups engaging with our students. And then, last but not least, I think I would highlight the innovation path for the Westman Institute for Tourism and Hospitality. Within these, we see this as a complementary training that will make our master students ready to act as entrepreneurs, ready to act as entrepreneurs, ready to be true change makers, to bring innovation to the companies that they will work after, and really to develop these sort of creative minds. This will be a journey that will last for the 3 semesters. We will be developing solutions. We will bring many different mentors, startup entrepreneurs, investors. We'll sit through a few workshops and really try to provide a hands-on experience to develop this innovative and entrepreneurial mindset for these master students of the Westman Institute for Tourism and Hospitality. So to conclude, we see many opportunities for innovation within the tourism and hospitality space, but also I think it's important that when we talk about hospitality, we understand that we're talking about innovative customer experience. And this customer experience is becoming more and more important within many sectors and transforming many different industries. With this thought, I'll get back to you, Sergio. Thank you very much, and I look forward to hear Itai. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Euclides. It's good to have you back. Well, we've started our journey a few years ago regarding entrepreneurship and innovation in other roles in our lives, and it's fantastic to have you with us at Nova to drive these projects. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Itai Green, CEO and founder of Innovate Israel and ITTS. And I would say one of the leading international leading experts in corporate innovation strategies. We are actually living in times of change, and more than ever, I would say technology is key to maintain the industry's competitiveness, to promote efficiencies of our businesses, and to improve the customer experience of millions of travelers, which are now trying to get back to a normal life. A normal life that has travel and tourism as one of its main components. Itai, thank you very much for accepting this invitation and also for joining Nova's community with a partnership that we are celebrating with Innovate Israel. I'm sure that we'll be able to announce in the near future several cooperation projects between Nova and Innovate Israel with impact within our ecosystem of students, and I'm sure that will make also the difference to the future of our sector. Itai, the floor is yours, and once again, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Sergio and Euclides, for inviting me. It is my pleasure. I always love to be in Portugal and to speak with Portuguese. So at this stage, I can't be with you, so we'll do it remotely. But hopefully we'll be able to meet face to face. So good morning, everyone. Today I would like to speak with you about corporate open innovation, which is a huge opportunity thanks to the COVID-19, and also give you some startups that I see that are solving current updated challenges for the travel domain. So a little bit about myself, 15 years of experience as an entrepreneur in different domains. I was heading the innovation activity of Amadeus in Israel. I founded Innovate Israel over 3 years ago in order to help corporations and governments to innovate with third parties, which is open innovation, and also founded a great community of Israeli TravelTech entrepreneurs with over 300 startups in this community. We all know what's in common between all these brands. All these brands were disrupted by new technology. And all of us want to work for corporate like Netflix, like Amazon, which is exactly the opposite of the previous brands. And there's an arrogance of success for corporations that tend to think that what used to work for them in the past is going to keep working for them in the future. And if there is one thing I want you to take now from my presentation is that it's not going to happen. It's not enough. What was enough before the COVID-19 is absolutely not sufficient these days. And the COVID-19 brings us a huge opportunity for innovation. And we know that that technology nowadays allow us to develop and move forward really fast, much faster than in, let's say, when we had the telephone of Graham Bell, that it took 75 years to reach 50 million users. Zoom reached 300 million users in a few weeks, and also other good apps. So technology really allows us to do so. So during the COVID-19, we could find two types of corporate people. Those that were at home working with Zoom and really doing their best in order to innovate, working really hard at home to do the innovation work really fast. And we had another type of corporate people, those that were staying at home but watched Netflix. So I can tell you that following the COVID-19, we will see corporations that were able to develop really fast and are preparing really nice surprises for their competitors that were preferring to watch Netflix. I've recently shared an article about the day after COVID-19. So first of all, it's going to be a process. In every country, it's going to be a process, and there is no certain time that we can say that it's behind us. And another thing is that we don't really know whether we're going to have a second wave of COVID-19. But it's quite clear that our life are going to look different. How much different? Hard to say. But we absolutely can say that everyone moved to online. Even my parents, even my grandma, your employees, everyone is willing to do a lot more, and your clients and employees are willing to do a lot more from remotely, from home, by themselves than before. So we need to take an advantage out of that. So really the DIY is something we will find more and more. And of course the working from home. I'm not sure that companies are going to allow their employees to work 5 days 5 days a week from home, but we already see in Israel that companies are choosing to allow their employees to work 1 or 2 days per week from home, which is really nice, and there are many impacts out of that. For example, real estate is going to be cheaper, companies are going to save a lot on the rent. So there is a huge impact on that. And also, before the COVID-19, we spoke about cyber threat. Now we all speak about pandemic threat. And when you're speaking about such a challenge, it means that entrepreneurs are coming with solutions. Also, the COVID-19 free. Everyone is looking into safe zones. And as the Portugal tourism, the Portugal released the stamp of free and clean areas for hotels and others, it's going to be in every place, also airports, planes, and others. And there are domains where government need to take a significant role. Tourism is one of them. Without government to be a significant player, at least at the beginning, it's going to be really tough and hard to get back to the days that we want to get. This is the time to rethink. This is the time to execute fast. This is a time for creative solution. This is a time for flexibility. No cancellation fee is exactly something that's not going to work. I mean, everything is going to be canceled for free, at least the next 12 months in the tourism space. It starts with domestic travel. I can tell you that my wife and myself had the weekend in Israel last weekend. So it starts with domestic and we go step by step also to international airfares. And everyone is looking, clients are looking into buying cheap, but the tourism corporations are looking into selling more and fast. So we'll need to find solutions in order to make everyone happy. During the COVID-19 crisis, we could see corporations that were relying heavily on technology. These type of corporations were much more flexible to handle the crisis. So if we need to get prepared for the next wave in the next winter, maybe, we need to integrate as many technologies as possible. It would allow us to be more flexible. And everyone is going to speak now about maximizing efficiency. Everyone. Efficiency is with technology only. Laying off people is really not matter. Integrate technologies. And there is no time to develop it internally. We need to adopt solutions from third parties. And you know, most of the smartest people are not working for you. It's a matter of statistics. They're also not working for Google. Most of the smartest people always work for someone else. And if that's the case, collaborate with these else, with these third parties. This is going to be the best ROI with the lowest risk. These are some startups that grew to unicorns, Israeli ones, and these are corporations that are looking for technology solutions for innovation in Israel. In Israel, we have 536 multinationals actively looking for technology, for new solutions, for innovation. And they're looking for innovation in order to beat their competitors, to get extra growth. And they're looking for innovation mainly in order to develop their core capabilities, also looking for talents and other reasons they have. This is a very good research. I highly recommend you take a look at by PwC and Startup Nation Central. And of course, there is a challenge when corporate government are looking into working with startups, and there is a lot of know-how in this domain in Israel, and I will try to bring you some of that during this presentation. A little bit about the Israeli ecosystem. Many startups, endless number of delegations, many hundreds of accelerators, investors, and really good public universities. But what's unique are not the numbers. What's unique is the fact that all these ecosystem players are sharing, they are collaborating, they share the knowledge. This is the reason, number one reason in my view, for the fact that this ecosystem is really moving fast. This is just one example of an ecosystem map in Israel for the AI, artificial intelligence. That's quite impressive. These are the leading startups in this domain. This is the travel domain, the leading startups. These are startups with a solution to combat the COVID-19 virus. So this is relatively really new map. And all these startups are looking into working with corporations in order to run POCs and to have design partnership. I would share with you a few tips really fast about how corporate and startup should work in a good way in order to have valuable value for both sides. So the first one is to get a commitment and engagement from the C-level and from the board. And unfortunately, in many cases, the board members don't really understand what innovation, what startups, what these third parties, collaborations, partnerships, what's the value in that? Why is it important? They don't really understand. Most of the board members are more oriented to business and finance, not to innovation. So in Israel, it's mandatory by law. So if there are regulators in the audience, please listen for that. It's really simple tip. In Israel, it is mandatory by law that in each and every bank board, there's going to be at least one board member who is specialized with technology and innovation, a real expert. And when you have one like that in the board, in the C-level, suddenly things are moving faster and totally different than before. Simple step, huge impact. And when you have three board members with an orientation to technology and innovation, then the bottom line of the company is by far better than its competitors. This is by MIT. And you know, the average age in board members in S&P 500, but in Israel the same, and I assume in Portugal as well, it's 60. And with all due respect, we're living in 2020, so we have to have a diversification, a diversified board, not only by the expertise they bring, so they're expert in innovation and technology, but also bring also young people to the board. In Israel, again, the governmental companies aim to have 20% of the board members below the age of 40. Highly recommended. Highly. The second tip is to have an innovation leader and a single point of access in each and every corporate. Someone that is the single point of contact for startups that would like to approach the corporate. The third tip is to update the challenges every quarter. And absolutely you will agree with me, I assume, right? That the challenges of each and every corporate and the government in Portugal are absolutely different. At the beginning of June 2020, comparing to the beginning of March 2020. So it is absolutely super important. Update the challenges and share it. Because when you share challenges, entrepreneurs and others are going to come with great solutions. Better solutions than those you will develop internally. This is a tip I really love. Get rid, fire all those employees that are motivated by ego. This is the NIH, not invented here syndrome. Those managers, those executives, that then when they see a startup with a great solution, they are not able to collaborate and to partner. Their ego doesn't allow them. Hire and promote in 2020 only those employees who are curious and willing to collaborate with others. Those with the fear of missing out syndrome. Those that are really looking into what's new out there and always eager and curious to collaborate with these others. The fifth tip is to speak the startup lingo. Speak with them in their language. Be available 24/7. Always keep your mind open. Always when you meet a startup, think why yes. Why are we gonna work with them? Not why they're not good enough. Partnership. Treat startups as partners. I can tell you there are corporations that realize that startup is not their bank. And you don't pay startup for a pilot or for anything, for any invoice in 90 days, in 60 days. No, you pay startup immediately, on time. And when you do so, you become attractive in the ecosystem. All great startups will approach you. Allocate some budget. If you don't have budget, don't do innovation. Don't measure innovation by the ROI. Measure it by number of POCs. Try to do at least the first couple of years. Try to do as many POCs as possible. That's the way to measure innovation. If you're looking for equity from the startup, pay for that. No free meals. And minimize bureaucracy. We've launched the community of the TravelTech in Israel a little bit more than 3 years ago. It's managed by a great guy, Michael Ben Aaron, and you can follow us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on our website. These are some of our partners around the world that we collaborate with. We help them to find the best out of what we have to offer in Israel. And during the last session here, I would like, with your permission, to tell you a little bit about the new type of startups in the TravelTech community in Israel that we see in the last 3 months. Generally speaking, we see many startups that had nothing to do with travel domain, nothing. They were playing in totally different domain, totally. And suddenly, when they saw that there are new challenges, and really interesting one, in the travel business, they shifted, they pivoted to the area of travel where there is demand, where there is a challenge, where there is an interest. So they were flexible enough, agile enough to shift. And we see more and more startups doing the same. So for example, and I will tell you really shortly about each and every startup, and later on you can get this presentation and Google for those solutions and look for what interests you, and I will be more than happy to provide you with more info as much as I be able to do. So for example, CoreSight, they equip security with a smart camera platform, super relevant for border control. Provo, this is a startup that helps travel agents which are fighting, they are trying to survive, they're looking for any new way to increase, to make some more money. So this startup helps them to make some more money out of hotel. And this one, Wizard, is on the same domain of helping travel agents to make a little bit more, to make some new money, but for flights. And this one, Jugano, is a LED-based disinfection lights, super relevant, for example, to airports, to hotels, to other big places. This is AnyVision. They have a thermal cameras to measure body temperature from a distance. And they allow, for example, again, airports to really monitor all the crowd and pick only those with a high temperature. And with their technology, they also know whether it's from a disease or a result of a physical activity. Super interesting company. This one is an IoT-powered hygiene microstation that provide users with a precise dose of soap and water. This one brings new revenues to travel agents because it helps them to generate new revenues from people with disabilities. People with disabilities is a very interesting segment that spend a lot of money on each and every travel. So it is a very, very interesting area where travel agents and other players can get a lot of money out of. This is just one example from a university. They develop in Israel, it's Ben Gurion University in the Negev, in the southern part of Israel. They develop a breath test to identify COVID-19 in less than 60 seconds. So imagine there is so much use for that in airports, and when we enter the plane, when we leave the plane, when we get to the airport again, when you get to a hotel, when you get to mall, to any place like that. Terra Group, again, they also developed a breath analyzer. It's really simple, non-invasive, and on-the-spot diagnostic test, really fast, to know whether you are healthy or not. This is Vayar. It's a remote sensor to detect vital signs of COVID-19 symptoms. This is Soundtrack. Again, sound-based passenger screening. It's a system for COVID-19 symptoms. I can tell you that in China, they also analyze potential sick people via sound. So it's a technology that we can already see in many places around the world. In Israel, there is a unit with dogs, a military unit. By the way, in Israel, during the first week of the crisis, of the COVID-19 crisis, at the beginning of March, the special technology units in Israel, in the army, have decided to work 24/7 toward relevant technological solutions to fight the COVID-19. So most of the resources of the technology units of the army were shifted to find solutions. And thanks to that, we were able to fight the COVID and to make life a little bit easier. So this is just one example of the Israeli dog unit in the army that is testing for scent-based COVID-19 test by the dogs, by the military dogs. They smell and get it, whether you are sick or not. So it's interesting. BioEye is a smartphone. You use the smartphone camera to identify pre-symptomatic people. It's really fast as well, fast screening. See-through automates security screening at the airports. It enables shorter queues and cost reduction. By the way, shorter queues is a challenge. Is a huge challenge for the next era where we're living because of the social distancing that we need to keep. Navin. Navin is an indoor navigation technology. It was originally developed and tailored for malls, for hospitals, but now they provide a solution for places like hotels, like airports. When you want to analyze the client, the people, which location were they? If they were close to someone who is sick, you want to let them know on the spot. So that's super important. And with this technology, it is possible. Wishbox. It automates the hotel guest journey. This is for the digital transformation. Everyone is looking into making everything digital. Check-in, scanning documents, and all type of relationship with the clients at the hotel and other places. We want to make it fully digital. So it would replace the check-in, the reception. Many technologies are here to replace many of those service providers in the hotels, in the airports. So this is a very interesting area, very interesting. Air Doctor. It's a marketplace to match travelers with local physicians. So when you're traveling, you'll be easily able to get in touch with those local physicians when you're not feeling that well. NanoScent. It's a scent recognition platform. They use machine learning algorithm to detect and pinpoint the exact location of a wide range of scents at low concentrations. And Refunded, which is a very interesting startup. They just few months ago, 6 months, 12 months ago, they were able to raise $10 million dollars from Amadeus and from Portugal Venture in order to turn the process of tax-free shopping to fully digital. Great startup. And with this solution, we will be able to avoid all the queues at the airport of those people that are standing on the line to get the refund for the tax. So I hope that I convinced you that we are living in an amazing time, which is a huge opportunity. We just need to decide what are we looking for, update the challenges, and do it right, which is a challenge, but it's not such a complicated one. So this was my presentation. Now I'll be more than happy to get some questions from the audience. I will do my best to answer. As I was recommending you, sharing, collaborating is really the basis of open innovation. So if I recommend that to you, then I also share this presentation with all those that are interested, and you can feel free to message me, email me, WhatsApp me, whatever, for any question you have on your mind. So now the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Itai. Great to have you and to see your presentation. Thank you. I think it was excellent. It's great to have input of a real global player, and it's amazing the number of solutions that startups can create. And a message that I would also like to share as a practitioner in the tourism area is some of these solutions might look like solutions focused on the current crisis, But I also believe that a lot of them will remain after for the future. Just think about what happened with the 9/11 crisis and a lot of things that we were obliged as travelers to do after the crisis that remain until today. So I think it's great, and also a lot of challenges to our students, to our travel and tourism community. This is really time to adapt. Our industry is living, I would say, the worst crisis ever. We had our numbers in Portugal from April, and we had a decrease of 97% of the sector. So I think it's crazy times, but also times of hope, because we've seen an interesting trend with several startups to have the opportunity these times to show their value and their contribution and relevance to help companies within this field. Now it's time to questions, to Q&A, and I would like to our audience to stimulate them to make the solutions in Q&A. I see that we have already some of them, but I would like to open the floor with one specific question to both Itai and Euclides, which is, with all this COVID-19, I think your presentations were very clear on this. We have accelerated a lot of digital transformation processes that perhaps we had frozen in our desks for years, and now we had to do it in 2 months, everything. Is it the sense of urgency the only way of moving forward, or should we go back to our offices and put in place a systematic corporate innovation strategy? Like this is there still a role for strategy on this, or we just need to incorporate this chaos in our lives as managers?
You want to start?
Sure, why not? Let's go. So yeah, I mean, as Itai mentioned, I'm also fully aligned with the idea of COVID being an accelerator of trends, right? So as Itai have shown, I mean, people were already online. Now, obviously, everyone is online. We were used to do some of these webinars and conferences, and I think now we were literally pushed into this is the only way of doing it. Of course, hopefully things will go back to more to the normal times, hopefully soon. But I believe it's going to be a new normal, and we just need to adapt to that. We need to understand what are the key challenges that we were facing. And on that, to answer your question, I'm really convinced that we should take a very strategic mindset and really try to understand from a strategic point of view how can we fastly adapt to the new reality, to the new challenges. And I also totally agree. I mean, this crisis has opened a lot of opportunities, a lot of interesting challenges. I'm seeing a lot of very, very interesting startups out of Israel, but also I believe that we can do the same in Portugal. I'm seeing a lot of entrepreneurs based out of Portugal taking also a very interesting approach, and I think the community also build a lot of interesting tools to tackle this community. I think we were fast on reacting to that. Now we need to be strategic in the way that we understand what are the future challenges and how can we position. And these, I think it's relevant for a big corporate, for entrepreneurs, even for students. I think we need to have a strategic mindset to try to understand, okay, these are the trends, these are the new challenges, this is going to be the new reality. How can we better position to tackle that?
So I fully agree. And I think that this is the best time that the strategy is the open innovation. All the other strategies, leave it to 2021, because currently we need to get back to a kind of new reality, and get prepared for the second wave, and which might not come, but we need to get prepared for that. So the challenge is to really make the shift of the big corporations the shift in their mindset really fast. They have to adapt to the new reality. They can't fight it. They just need to live with that and to look for the solutions that would allow them to make business. And the only way to do so is with third parties that might come from academy, from other companies, from startups. This is the only way. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense. We might have a second wave in 4 to 6 months. So there is no time. There is no time. So we need to really change the mindset of the corporations, make them work with the third parties, with the startupists, and do everything really fast. And there are many examples of corporations that during the last 3 months were able to do in weeks what used to take before the COVID-19 a year, because they changed the mindset, and it is possible. And I gave you a few tips. One of them is really to bring new people into the board, into the C-level. Bring new people with new blood, young people. It would allow everything to move faster. Otherwise, most of those that lead the corporations don't really know what they don't know. And they don't know. So that's the challenge, to fill the gap, to educate them.
Thank you for the insights. I think it's quite interesting. We have a lot of we have some questions in our Q&A, and I think the first one is for you, Itai. Do you think people will travel less and instead will use VR tours, virtual platforms in the near future? What do you think about it?
I think that naturally people love to travel, and naturally people would love to get back to normal life. They would love, I tell you, I mean, I just told you that my wife and myself just spent the weekend in a hotel with all the restrictions and difficulties, but still, naturally, we are people that really want to travel. So maybe at the beginning, it would take some more time. But I don't really see VR replacing the travel experience. It might be great for the next few months. It would definitely be great to explore new destinations before you travel, absolutely. But it doesn't replace. People love to travel.
Great, I'm totally fan of that. Hopefully it will not replace, it wouldn't be the same thing. A question also from the audience, I think it's also for you. Are these technologies like Wishbox or some, etc., commercially available already?
Yes. Most of them available commercially, but even those that are still running pilots are in a relatively good status, and they're willing to pilot their technology in any place. I mean, they already do it with the Israeli army, with the Israeli airports, with the Israeli hotels. People are much more open now, absolutely, to adapt new technologies, to try, much more open-minded. But yes, 90% and more than those that I've showed you are already available commercially.
Mm-hmm. The next question, I think, can be for you, Itai, but also for Euclides, is the presentation was focused on solutions and tech products. What would be the main advice regarding sustainability for the tourism sector? Are there the fundamental areas of impact to study, change, and develop in current organizations?
What about
sustainability? Is it sustainability still part of the game, and what can technology help to foster that?
Euclides, you want to start?
Sure. I do agree. I mean, sustainability is a very important topic. It was before COVID, and I think it will be more and more important. I think it's one of the big topics that even the EU has on their agenda for this next decade. So the circular economy, green economy, digital economy. I think these are the three key topics that there will be many opportunities coming from the European Union. And to be honest, I think this addresses
a need from the customers. As customers, one of the big trends that we've seen, that we've been seeing, is that travelers are becoming more and more focused on choosing things that are sustainable. The use of single plastic is no longer that accepted. So I think there are many sustainability opportunities, many things to address, be it within hotels and accommodation, but also in terms of when we travel, and the mobility, for instance, we're seeing a huge rise of on-demand shared mobility, eco-friendly mobility, so electric vehicles and electric scooters and electric bikes. So I do believe that users, customers demand more and more sustainable means of transportation, more and more sustainable solutions for many of their needs.
I agree. I think that these days, at least 2020, the area of feeling safe, being relaxed when you're getting into airport and so on, would be a little bit more urgent. So technologies that would allow the clients, the travelers, to be safe, it's going to be kind of first priority. Hopefully next year, we will be able to continue with the sustainability issues. I think currently we need to put all our effort in order to make business and to have a to bring travelers back to the travel domain and feel safe. And all companies need to have a really high reputation, so the clients would be able to rely that when they tell them that it's safe and clean, it is really safe and clean. Because if it is not, one journalist that would do some investigation will learn a little bit about, in Israel, we faced it before the COVID-19, where the journalist that was checking the hotel, how clean it is, and they found not that good results, and it was before the COVID-19. So I think this is kind of first priority. So travelers would be able to rely, feel safe.
So it's transparency. I think it's one thing that will come from this. Well, we have here one positive feedback from using Israeli software in our DMC, and it's quite excellent so far. So congratulations on that. We have a couple of questions, and we are running a little bit out of time, but I would say one question for both of you, which is a lot of technology. What about the digitalization of SMEs? Is it a challenge? I would say 98% of the sector is SMEs. How can we have SMEs on board and SMEs as users of this innovation and beneficiaries of this innovation?
So first of all, the SMEs are lucky because there is SaaS, the software as a service, the cloud. It allows them many times to get new technologies in a relatively short time. I can tell you that we've had a similar webinar with the Italian market, and many SMEs were there, and startups were offering those SME a free deal for 2020. So they really wanted to make the SMEs buy their new technology, and were even willing to give it for free just to support them and to take an advantage of the fact that they don't really have business these days. So this is the best time to adopt new technologies. So for SMEs, in many cases, it's more complicated because they don't have enough resources for that. But startups are flexible and smart enough and creative enough in order to offer the SMEs an offer they could not reject. And I think with this, we can really help them, because I agree with you, Sergio. It's a huge challenge.
Euclides, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I believe this is a great time for SMEs to actually jump on board of this digital transformation. Actually, one of our programs in the next semester will be targeting at least 10 SMEs to really focus on these digital transformation. And to be honest, I'm seeing a big change. If you look, for instance, into the restaurant sector, I mean, a lot of restaurants were not online, were not part of these food delivery platforms. Now they were forced into it. I mean, if they have zero revenue for 1 month, 2 months, obviously, I mean, they saw these huge customer transformation, and they were very able to quickly adapt into this new reality. The same with tour operators. I mean, the tour operators are typically very small size companies, and now you understand that yes, they can be online and sell to the whole world, and they need to adapt to the new customer profile. They need to rethink their customer experience in the way that they bring on more and more customers. So I'm very bullish on this digital transformation, and I think it will affect all of the companies.
Okay, thank you. We also have another question to Itai. New innovative solutions are to integrate in common existing systems found at airports, especially to do complex interfaces ecosystem, airports, airlines, handlers, authorities. How are you able to deploy some of the POC startups with this legacy ecosystem without incurring in significant extra costs?
The answer is yes. Many of them we can already see they're integrated. I mean, they've been integrated in the last few weeks because the airport IT people and the hotel IT people and all the airline IT people, they all realize that if they will not do the best effort, the extra effort, they will lose their job. So they're highly motivated this time to do whatever is needed in order to integrate. And this is the reason why it's such an amazing time for startups. It is such an opportunity for both. It's really win-win. But suddenly the corporation are really demanding, are really asking for that. And they're putting all the effort in order to make it happen, even with the legacy systems. And I can see it also in the insurance space, in the banking space, everywhere, not only the travel. So yes, absolutely.
Challenging times. Euclides, want to ask?
I totally agree. I think Itai was sent a very strong message that big corporations need more than ever to really adapt to this and to move forward with POCs. And to be honest, I think we've been starting to see some of our big corporate partners at Nova from the various areas, banking, insurance, and so on. I mean, there are a lot of interest from big corporations. I think startups also need to play smart and to understand how to speak the same language. And I think here it's also our challenge to make both worlds come together and collaborate.
Yeah, we see a lot of the innovation in the banking and insurance space. So if you have some corporations in Portugal in this space that are looking into innovation, Israeli corporations in the banking and insurance will be more than happy to collaborate. So we have here another potential collaboration. So just talk to me later on, Euclides, and I will put them in touch.
Okay, great. We are almost running out of time, 4 minutes to go. One question connected to the role of young people. I guess our students were very excited with your proposal of having 140 an innovation expert in top management of companies. Well, I was a little bit scared because of that, because I'm not already in that group, but well,
Me too.
There is hope. So that let's see if we can compensate. But in our opinion, which are the skills these young executives must have to play this role, and actually to be able to make the change at the C-level in big companies to make them open to innovation and to all the startup movement and technology movement?
I want to see in boards people that understand technology, that are following technology, that are technology oriented, that are ecosystem players, that they really know what's out there in terms of technology. This is the type of people I would like to see. Entrepreneurs, people that were startupists, it's super important. People that were running innovation activity in corporations, people that really live day to day on the ecosystem, on the tech ecosystem, and are curious, and they have the motivation and energy to put this important agenda on the table of the board. And what I see is when you have someone like that, that is updated and that is curious, that know what's out there, he brings this knowledge to the board. And suddenly you see innovation boot camps in the board. You see entrepreneurs coming to pitch to the board members. You suddenly see that they're discussing in the board the matter of budget for innovation. They follow up on innovation activity and initiatives. They release a quarterly paper to let the shareholders know that there is innovation in the corporation. So this really push things forward. And trust me, it is such a simple and cheap step. Because if you don't do that, all the innovation theme, all this methodology, all this domain doesn't exist during the board meetings. They speak about everything but that. And with all the respect, people who are well experienced in finance, in business, they have no clue in innovation and technology, no clue. And in 2020, if you don't have that, you just risk the future of the corporate. I mean, I'm sorry that I'm that, I'm really insist on that point, but I think that with this small change, the impact is huge.
Okay, thank you. Euclides, our role on that.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic message, and I think it was a very, very, very good suggestion. On top of that, I think we need, when we're talking about our students, I think we need to really focus on developing this creative mindset, really to expose them to these technologies, to have hands-on experience working with startups, working for startups, because that can really provide a differentiation when they go back and work for these big corporates. So I think having a creative, innovative experience with startups, either building a startup or working for a startup, I think that can really, really provide these accelerator and maybe come to the C-level sooner than later.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for sharing your ideas and views on this topic. I think we had a very interesting webinar and with a lot of inputs to the next normal that we are living. I would also like to thank all the participants of this webinar and for also sharing their questions. This webinar was recorded and will be available in our Role to Play platform. And well, follow us and check for the next webinars. And thank you very much once again. It was my pleasure to host this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much.